The couple you're about to meet are doing this for the first time. I asked you that, Steph, before we started. Brian, I'm sorry. Steph is sorry.
You got it.
I'm looking at you and talking to her. You've not done this before, and your situation is one of those that it is difficult for people to hear. You lost your son, your baby boy here after only 19 days. What happened, and how did it come down here at the hospital?
So at my 20-week ultrasound, I was super excited to find out the gender, as one does. I never really thought that you could find out that your baby's sick.
Yeah.
So the next day I got a call, and I was asked to rush to the hospital to have some tests done. They then told me that my son had a very rare heart condition that would require open heart surgery shortly after birth. So we were kind of given our options, which was either to terminate or to proceed. And, he had really good odds of survival. So for us, it was a no-brainer. We were going to meet our son. Throughout the rest of the pregnancy, he was safe while he was in my belly. And the wait was really hard, knowing that he was going to come out and have a surgery. But he was born on June 13th of 2022. After 9 days or 10 days, he had his open heart surgery, and it was a 16-hour-long surgery. And then after that surgery, all the issues were repaired, but his heart was not strong enough to beat on its own. So he had to be placed on an ECMO machine. And after 9 days of waiting and hoping that it was going to get strong enough, it just wasn't. So we had to make the difficult decision to take him off.
It's a heartbreaking story, obviously. But when I heard you say 16 hours, this is just a newborn.
A newborn, yeah.
Who all of a sudden you're told, listen, he has a problem. We think we can try to fix it. What was that like, having to endure that time that your child, and they're trying to save basically your child's life? What was that like going through?
I think we had just forced ourselves to think positive about the situation, that there was no alternative. So it was, we're going into surgery, it's going to be okay. For whatever amount of time that it takes, we had, Dr. Bernier, who was the surgeon who performed the surgery. We had so many conversations, so many nights in the hospital speaking with him and his associates. So we just felt very confident that Myles was in really good hands, and that everything was going to be okay. We were going to be that feel-good story finally. Didn't turn out the way we obviously hope, but yeah.
To what Steph said, that decision at the end of it all, you go through the surgery, you're told the surgery went well. I think it took longer than expected originally, right? But then they said it went well. Obviously, at that point, the hope is there that, wow, the surgery went well. This is going to be a story with a happy ending, and it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, no, it was supposed to be about an 8-hour surgery, I think they had said at the beginning. But there were so many unknowns at the time. I mean, we're talking about an organ, the size of a golf ball. I don't even know if it's that big. So I think once they started it, once the surgery commenced, numerous complications or additional work had to be done. We left the hospital. We kind of tried to just do things. We spent time with our eldest at the time, Scarlett. She's now going to be turning 4. So we spent the day with her at home, just trying to keep busy. But then at a certain point, we said we had to get back to the hospital. And maybe a bit of us was a bit worried that it was taking so long. But at the same time, we couldn't contact anyone. Everyone was, occupied with our son. So we just kind of waited.
It's hope against hope, right? You're told it's going to be okay. But at the end of all this, by the way, after the surgery, what was the discussion with the doctors? Because they said the surgery went well, but what has to happen next?
Yeah, we had a surgeon come into the room who wasn't our surgeon because they were still in there, and basically they had informed us that, okay, they're currently putting him on ECMO. They had to explain that whole situation because it was the first time that I had heard that, what that type of machine was. And they said everything went well, but and they said that currently he's on life support. So your optimism is quickly hit with...
Sure.
Well, now there's something else that we're battling.
we hear stories. We're going to hear stories. Now, I've been doing this now for many, many years, and some stories have a happy ending, and unfortunately some don't, like in your particular case. That's just the reality of what happens in a place like this. And I wonder, whenever parents go through something like what you went through, it's tough enough to have gone through it. I imagine it's that much more difficult to have to relive it when you come to an event like this. But when I asked you, you said you felt the duty to let people know about the kind of care you got here nonetheless.
Yeah, like I think any opportunity to talk about him, because he's not here, I take it as a joy. Not how I want to spread my love for him, but how I do it now. And I received such good care here that, all the little things that you don't think of. We had, at the end, once he was on, ECMO, the machine, the palliative care team came, and we have a mold of his hand and his foot, and that's something that I hold so close to my heart.
Yeah.
And I have a song with his heartbeat, and that is just so precious that I never would have imagined that they would be able to do that for us. Just leaving every night when I couldn't be there by his side, and having a team of nurses and doctors watching him, and I didn't have to worry. I knew that they were taking the best care of him. That to me felt,
There was a bit of reassurance, definitely.
Which is, of course, to some degree why we're here, right? To let people know about the remarkable care that you get here at the Children's. Obviously, everyone wishes it had been a different outcome, but as I said, that's the reality of things here. They don't always work out perfectly. But the care you got, the consideration you got, that's something clearly you both appreciate.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, especially in this province over the past couple of years, there's certain times you hear a lot of negativity about the healthcare system, but Myles had, a group of, I'm exaggerating, but a group of 30 doctors, every morning. I would say at least a group of 8 doctors.
Not all doctors. We had,
a staff, and we had rounds like you see on the TV shows, and they were keeping us informed, and there were 2 nurses on him all throughout the day. You really didn't get the same feeling of what the glimpse is on sometimes the negativity on our healthcare system. Definitely you don't feel that here at the Children's, and obviously that's why we're here today, because it must be through days like today that parents like us coming into these doors get a great experience out of a bad experience.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Listen, I want to thank you both, Steph, Brian, first of all, for taking the time, talking about your story, and letting people know that that's why we're here. We're here to ask you to make the phones ring, which I think you may hear in the background here. It's happened a couple of times, but that's the whole idea, to raise as much money as we can to allow the Children's to continue the work that it does. It is 514-939-KIDS or 514-939-5437. This is the day. Caring for Kids Radiothon Day. Let's make those phones ring now. A lot more stories before this one is done at 7 o'clock tonight. So please, let's get it happening now. 514-939-KIDS. Thank you both.